What's going on, guys? Brandon King here from Broken Tip at Flyco. Today we are going to be twisting up a few different chironomids. Well, actually one chironomid just tied a few different ways. But this is kind of the first intro to our video series that we want to kind of continue to launch throughout the year here. One of our goals is just to take more videos. And what there's really not a better way to start than at the fly tying bench, but the goal for this year is just film more just campsite activity on the boat, catching fish, more or less just kind of getting more comfortable with the camera. So thank you all for joining. I hope you guys enjoy what we're about to do here today. Very simple chironomids that we're going to start off with. So this is just the Red and ASB Chironomid, but I'm going to be putting a little bit of a twist on it. So instead of your typical like ASB with red wire, we're going to have some small wine hollow tinsel, and also some medium red hollow tinsel that we're going to mess around with. The hook and the vise today, we are using a Togans. This is a size 16, and the bead is a 5/64 brass bead. And the thread that I have on here is just a UTC 70 denier. So to kick things off, I'm just going to take a little bit of this small wine colored hollow tinsel off the spool. And we are just going to tie this in right behind the bead, same way you would with the wire, so tie right behind the bead, then work the thread right back to the barb. Stop there, and I'm going to add in the ASB. One of the things that I wanted to mention before we actually start here is that I am not a professional tyer by any means. I enjoy it. You kind of find it therapeutic to sit down after a day and spin up some flies, especially in the wintertime. I would say that's when we mostly get our fly tying done for the year. So yeah, I'm not a professional by any means. There's going to be mistakes, as you can see right now, just getting that ASB to stick on there. There's going to be mistakes, there's going to be laughs, but for this video, we just kind of wanted, actually for all of our videos, we just kind of want to open up the conversation and get people talking, and I hope that you guys have fun watching this. So the next part that I'm going to be doing is just kind of building that taper up. So you always want to make sure that your thread is laying flat. So after a couple thread wraps, I always give it a bit of a flatten out by a counterclockwise spin, and then just kind of pinch it down and flatten out the thread. The 70 denier really sits nice and flat. It's great for chironomids. As far as the taper goes itself, all I'm doing is just kind of I've dressed the fly once already, then I come back 75, back to the bead, then I'll go to 50, back, and then 1/4 of the way there. So you just kind of get this natural taper all the way up, and that looks pretty good there. And then I'm just going to come in with my ASB, and I don't have a rotary vise, so all of this will be spun by hand here as we work this fly up right behind the bead, just like that. We'll lock this in with 2 wraps behind, a couple wraps in front. Grab your scissors, cut that off as close as you can. Now I always leave that little tag in, and these are a brand new pair of scissors, so it's not for a lack of sharpness, it's just I don't know. So if you guys have a trick to getting that tag in closer, let me know. I usually just come over it a bunch of times with some thread here to kind of knock it down. And now we are going to wrap our wine colored hollow tinsel up, which just gives us knock the bob in there, and you can see that piece of that tag end is sticking back up. So let's leave it like that. Let's redo this. So you guys we're making mistakes already. This is what we want, right? Okay, so we're wrapping the hollow tinsel up, open segments, all the way to our tying point, and then we'll lock this guy in. 2 wraps behind, 2 wraps in front. Give this guy a trim. Then I want to make sure my thread is really flat for this point here. And we'll come across. Beautiful. Okay, now we grab our whip finish tool. And we're just going to whip finish. Do you whip finish once and call it a day just like that? Or do you go around again? What's your preference? I find I don't really have a preference. I tie enough chironomids that if one blows up on me on the water, it's not the end of the world, but I usually do 1 or 2. And then I'm just going to take, actually, I'm going to use Zap-A-Gap here instead. I've been kind of off the Sally Hansen's lately, and I went back to using Zap-A-Gap just from a more of a ease of use and durability. I like the way the Zap-A-Gap holds them. There's another one that I haven't tried yet. I forget the name of it. I believe it's the UV one, but I believe it's is it thin? Raid thin or something like that. I haven't tried that one yet. If you use that one, let me know how it works. But right now we're using the Zap-A-Gap. Okay, so there's Chironomid number 1 done. Beautiful. And I did save you guys the time. So I put the beads already on the hooks of the flies we're going to tie today. We're just going to do the exact same one here again. So just apply the thread. Cut off your tag end. This will get cleaned up anyways. But if we can get that looking nice. Come in here with our hollow tinsel. And just attach that on. And just walk this thread right back to the bead. Grab our ASB. Now for the ASB, I'm using, if I'm doing like having the ASB right underneath, use that as like the body of the fly. Then I'm using 0.5 millimeter. If I'm using ASB as like a segment, then I'll use something much thinner. So this is 0.75, and it's very thin. So great for using for the segmentation. But if you're just wrapping bodies all day, might as well grab the bigger stuff and save you some time. Okay, so now we're doing the taper on here. So that was 3/4 of the way. Come back to about half. And then we'll finish off with 1/4 and back. And there you go. Nice little taper. Grab our ASB, work that all the way up to the front. It's funny, I was actually just about to say I haven't dropped the ASB yet, and now we have a little bit of a rat nest on our hands. But nothing that can't be fixed. You got to stay positive when you're tying flies. Too many mess ups like that, you could be into it. And again, a rotary vise would help big time. Oh, you slippery little guy. There's, well, we were dealing with a smaller piece of ASB. I've already used this for the fly, so this will be the last one. How am I doing there? Looks good. Last wrap. Let's tie that off. 2 behind. I might even do 3 this time just to make sure it's secured in there. And then come at the front with 3. And now we will snip that off. There's our little friend, the tag. Poke that down and just kind of come over top of it. And that should seal it off. There we go. Okay, now we take our wine hollow, and just like before, we're going to wrap that. I just bumped the bobbin, so I'm going to have to reset that tag, but we can deal with that when we get to the top. Two behind. Let's go 3. 1, 2, 3. Snip this off as close as we can. And we're just going to, oops, I just keep bumping the microphone there. Just make a nice little red thorax. And come in with our whip finish to seal this one off. Pull it down, make sure it's nice and tight, snip. There we go. And zap a gap. A nice light little coating here. Oh man, these flies fish really well. It's just like that ASB, just kind of mimicking the trapped gases of the Chironomid pupa as they ascend. It's a deadly fly. They're red. The red really shines through really nice. Those guys. Okay, we're gonna do one more like that, then we'll switch off to the medium hollow tinsel. You know what? I don't remember if I think I did. This is a size 16 Togans hook, curved nymph hook with a 564 white brass bead. Snip that off. I'm still doing okay on my hollow tinsel. Tie that in, work that thread, stop at the barb. We're going to cut off a little bit more ASB here. And I'm not sure where you guys are watching from. I'm living in North Vancouver here. Do most of my fishing in the BC, British Columbia interior. And we are about 2 months away. This is the beginning of March. So we got 2 months until we are in ice off. Then we can start hitting the lakes. And this is a pattern that I will usually start off with in the spring. Build this taper up. There's my 3/4. Now we will work it down to the halfway point, about there. Return to base. Give this a bit more of a spin. And I'm not sure if you're picking this up on camera, but you can see how the thread becomes a very close-knit spiral. And that happens every time you make just a normal thread wrap. So the counterclockwise spin contradicts that. Contradicts it? I'm not sure if I'm using the right word. Let's get that ASB wrapped up to the top. Lock this guy in. 1, 2, 3, and then coming to the front. 1, 2, 3, 4. Snip that off. A little bit of a tag, not too bad on this one. I'll just lay that right on top. And then it's hollow time. The wine hollow. Open segments. And we will lock that in place. And cut. Grab our whip finish tool. Couple turns of the old whip finish. And let's seal this guy down. A little bit of hollow, or a little bit of Zafigaf, not hollow. Give that a nice healthy coating. If you ever put too much on, just grab your bobkin and you can see it sometimes it'll start to pool in areas, so you just come in here and just kind of spread it around. Okay, that is fly number 3. You can see those guys there. Now we're going to change it up just a bit. Now for this one, we're going to be using medium red tinsel, red hollow tinsel. Unfortunately, I don't have a small with me here. So the wraps are just going to look a little bit thicker using the medium. It almost gives it kind of like a candy cane effect, if you will. You'll see what I'm talking about here in a sec. Okay, we got our hook in the vise. Get a nice little coat of red thread on there. And then just like I would with the wire, if I was using wire, I'm just going to start wrapping this in right away. Let's make sure we got that right. There we go. This will compress right in there. We're still keeping a very thin profile. Grab our ASB. Okay, let's see if I can do. So this is the second half of the first strand. When we did that before, it unraveled on us a couple times. So let's see what happens this time. And then get up to the top here, give that thread a spin, and let that unwind. Give it a little pinch and flatten that out. Come down to our 3/4 mark. Return to base. Give it another little spin here. The halfway point and back, and then the 1/4 mark and back. And there is our taper. Okay, ASB time. Let's wrap this up. Oh, I can already feel it. This is a small one. Please don't unravel. I feel like it's the camera curse. What will go wrong often does when you're not on camera. Everything seems to go fine. So far, this looks good. Okay, let's finish that off. Let's lock that in. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. cut that off as close as we can. We have a bit of a tag. If we push that over, our thread wraps should be able to suck that up. I can't really see it from this end, but you guys will probably see that on the camera end. Okay, now we're taking this medium red hollow tinsel. So you'll see what I mean. This is a thick body. You'll be able to see the silver shine through. I guess in hindsight, what I could do is use this as the body and then come in with a 0.75 ASB. But look at the color of that. Man, that looks good. I mean, it'll work for me. Might not work for Instagram, but it will catch fish. And whip finish this guy. I'm just going to do this once more. And then we will take our coatant, give that a bit of a brush. You just see even more like how much that red pops. Not my best. Not my best, but there's always the next one. I mean, it's a deadly fly. Okay. Next one's in the vise. Red thread is on. Tag end is clipped. Bring our thread back to the same spot as usual. Grab a new piece of ASB. And tie that in and head to the bead. Backwards spin. And we'll just kind of flatten that thread out. Three-quarter mark, back to base. Halfway point, back to the bead. And the 1/4 mark, back to the bead. Great little taper there. Counterclockwise spin again. And it's ASB time. Lock that in place. A couple of wraps in front. And we trim. Yeah, so you can see that. So the flatter your thread is, the easier it's going to be to go over top of that. In my experience anyway. There we go. Okay. red hollow. Just make sure we can see some silver. There. See, I told you guys, this one's going to be better. All right, let's lock that one in place. Come in with our scissors. And let's go right into our whip finish. The only thing I didn't do is kind of leave myself more of a space for the thorax here, but it'll work. Zap-a-gaff this one up. So this is our second one using the red hollow. I'll let that guy dry. Which one do you guys like better? The wine or the candy cane? Wine or candy cane? All right, we got 2 flies left. You know what I just did is I just pulled my thread through the. I just got to reset my bobbin here. All right, we're back. Apply the thread. Cut the tag. We're going to go back to the red hollow tinsel. And then how about we finish with the wine? Let's do that. Bring that back. Stop there. Grab our ASB. Tie that in. Come on, baby. There we go. Give that a bit of a spin. And we're working our way to the 3rd quarter mark here. Just trying to get this thread a little bit flatter. Okay, ASB. Lock this in place. 2, 3. Come to the front. 1, 2, 3. Snip. How does the tag end look there? Pop it up a bit. Kind of fold that down. There we go. Oh man, best for last, eh? Give that a backwards spin. Let's let this thread go nice and flat. And now it is hollow time. Nope, jumped the gun there a little bit. Man, I say best for last, and then I have to end up redoing it here. Okay. Told you guys I'm not a professional fly tyer. We are having fun. Because that is what fishing is all about. We'll lock that in place, cut that off. Well, I think that one's the best candy cane, as I'm calling it now. Oh, this thread here is a bit of a mess. Couple frail pieces just kind of hanging off here. Just going to get rid of that. You can see there's always something with fly tying. It's never perfect. All right, I'm just going to walk away from this when it looks good. It'll be fine. There is a couple, I don't know if you can see that or not, just random. It's just from my thread. It just kind of frayed there at the end. Zap a gap. Then we move on to our last fly. Just coat this quickly. Might have put a bit too much on that one. Yeah, you can see. So see how it's starting to pool there? So I'm just going to come in here with the bodkin and just kind of flatten that out. That'll fish. So you got 3 of those candy cane ones. Then we got 3 wine. And I'm going to finish with a nice glass of wine. Size 16 hook is in the vise. Apply our thread. I'm just going to grab, oh no, I do have a little bit of wine tinsel here. Bring that down. Grab our last piece of ASB. If you pull with your left hand, you can kind of bring it backwards just a bit. Just kind of gives you a cleaner tie-in point. Take our thread down to the base. Clockwise spin, counterclockwise spin, sorry. Flatten that thread out. Take us down to that 3/4 mark, back to the bead. Halfway point, back to the bead, and then the 1/4 mark, and then back. Beautiful little taper. ASB, we're wrapping. We'll lock this guy in place. And snip. Okay, how do we do on that one? Not too bad. Fold that over. flatten this thread out. I don't really like how that's not laying flush. And the wine hollow. Open segmentation. Lock that in. And then we go straight into a whip finish. Okay. Well, hey, I just wanted to say thank you so much for stopping by. And if you made it through the whole video, I appreciate it. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Do you want to see more videos like this where we just kind of talk and ask questions? I'd love to get the conversation going down below there. And yeah, this has been a deadly little chironomid pattern that we've used. And it's just kind of a play on that classic ASB with the red wire, either extra small or small. But yeah, it's been deadly. I'm going to put this one over here with the other wine chironomids and give you guys a final look, if you can see that. The nice wine ones and into the candy cane. Awesome. Yeah, thanks so much, guys. Really appreciate it. And as always, fish on.